Hello everyone, how are you? So this is something a little different. This is the extra reading I was talking about in the second half of October videos. If you watched those, I mentioned this there because I used decks for October that might not be pleasant for everyone to watch. So here's something a little different with more neutral decks. Okay, I'm using one oracle deck that's a little darker, but it's not that bad, okay? So before we get to any of this, I want to remind you that if you want any information on the decks or anything related to the reading, you can check the description box. And there's also a link to my Etsy store where you can purchase personal readings. There's also a very good discount right now. I'm giving half off for a couple of weeks for Halloween, so check the discount code there also. And yes, this is kind of like a lighter version of one of the readings that I have up there, a What Needs Healing, but of course I'm using more neutral decks here. It's kind of like a shadow work reading, but I don't like to call it shadow work exactly because I'm not doing the shadow work for you. Obviously, you will do the shadow work yourself. This is more of an indication of what could possibly need healing in your shadow part, okay? A little guidance in that direction. Now, if you're not sure how this works, okay, I have 3 piles here. It's not just one card, it's piles. It has cards from all the decks here. 1 of this, 3 of these, and 2 of this, okay? And you should pick one that is calling out for you. Now, I ask you not to focus on the runes here. I just selected them randomly. It has nothing to do with the messages themselves. So don't base your selection on that. Try to focus on the energy of the pile itself. If you don't feel drawn to any of them, then unfortunately there's no message here for you this time. Maybe next time, okay? So definitely don't force anything. If it's not for you, it's not for you. But yeah, you can pause the video if you want more time to pick one. Now, the way I'm going to do this is I have the main issue kind of card with the dark mirror, a couple of cards, 3 cards from the Spirit Stone Tarot to kind of explore the issue, and then kind of resurfacing with the Spirit Animal Oracle and maybe see how you could maybe incorporate that whatever revelations or whatever you have regarding the healing into your life. Now, of course, this is going to be very general, very kind of, well, I don't want to say vague, but still, because it's a general reading, so it's not going to be personal to anyone. So let's see how it goes. So when you've picked your pile, okay, you can check the description box. There's timestamps for the 2 other ones, and I'm going to go straight into the first pile. So let's see what we have here. The issue, the part that could possibly need healing, the child I was meant to be. Okay, so I'm taking this as an indication of inner child issues. So you might want to try to connect with your inner child. Okay, there's some messages there, something kind of sensitive regarding your childhood, possibly what you were not given enough, like if you weren't given enough love or affection or attention or anything like that when you were a child. Those issues kind of become very incorporated into who we are, and that kind of issues really need solving usually. So we have 8 of Acorns, so 8 of Wands, the High Priestess, and the 9 of Shells, so 9 of Cups, okay? Let's see. So as I said in the intro, I'm taking these as kind of exploration of this issue, okay? So this just generally gives us the idea that something in your inner child, your inner your childhood, or that section of your shadow needs working, and these kind of give more indication as to what this could mean in your life, okay? So with this 9 of Shells, okay, this is very happy card. It has here gratitude and fulfillment, so it's really like you have everything you want, you're very happy in your own life, in your own self, you know, you're very emotionally fulfilled and everything, and that might be a kind of not a problem, why would it be a problem, but might be an indication that you don't know how to enjoy that, you don't trust the happiness that comes into your life, okay? We also have the High Priestess, which is intuition. It also has your sacred knowledge. So somehow you might not either trust your intuition or just feel a little disconnected from it. The 8 of Acorns, energy and results. Okay, this is a very, very fast card. It can mean traditionally fast movement or fast messages coming in, or anything that's really like fast stuff. So I'm taking it as you might have difficulties accepting quick changes. So you might need very like a long adjustment period for things. And if anything, like, well, the world is what it is right now, and this might be a really big kind of issue for you, might cause a lot of stress and anxiety because you don't necessarily have control over things, okay? And when we have inner child issues, usually what helps for me, not necessarily for everyone, you can also research it more for whatever, you know, techniques there are out there that could possibly fit your preferences more. But what I like to do is meditate in a very specific way where I kind of have a little meeting with my inner child, just a little sit down and see how they're doing, if they have any messages for me, just kind of hang around, you know, hang out with them a little bit. It might seem a little weird if you haven't tried this before, but like they say, like the answers are always within us. All our inner knowledge and everything, it's already within us. Even when we go to a therapist, for example, they don't usually give us the answers, right? They ask us questions that make us reflect and then bring those answers from within us to the surface so that we can deal with these things properly. So if you meditate in that way, even if it might seem a little silly, it's still, you are in a deeper connection with yourself, okay? Especially that part of yourself. And I would say if you have issues accepting happiness, when something good happens, you just kind of might not just say, oh, thank you, this is amazing, let me enjoy this. You're just kind of waiting, like, what's the catch? when is this going to end? Something's gonna happen, something really bad is gonna happen. So if you feel like that, I definitely suggest looking into your inner child. If you want to really dive into it, you can try to get into those childhood memories and kind of uncover that way your trauma and all that. That is like the next step. It's a little bit deeper, goes more into the proper shadow work section, okay? So it depends on how deep you want to go. Now we have the resurfacing. We have bring your ideas to life and be fearless and bold, okay? So from this, I'm kind of getting the idea that maybe when you were a child, someone, or possibly even yourself, made you feel like you need to kind of be into yourself more, like don't show, just kind of make yourself small, basically. And the more you kind of break out of that and just do what feels right for you, little by little, it doesn't need to be like an amazing big thing right away. Obviously, that's not very comfortable. But like little things, look at what you really want to do and go for that. And especially if it's, because here we have the child I was meant to be. So if you feel like you never got to do something as a child, even if you're 47, it doesn't matter if you want to finger paint, because you were never allowed to do that, go buy some finger paint and go for it. The silliest little things, it really makes us connect with the inner child and that kind of childish joy. And in that way, we express ourselves in a way that we don't usually do as an adult necessarily. We're not an artist. So even if it's really like something silly like that, run in the woods, have popcorn for dinner, I don't know. Some silly little things like that, they can help you connect with that part of yourself and then figure out whatever these issues are, okay? Being more in contact with yourself, in touch with yourself, in that kind of cohesion, okay, you will be more grounded and it will help you face change. It will help you get more in touch with your intuition. And when good things happen, you can actually enjoy them. Okay? I hope this was helpful for you. I forgot what I was going to say, but yes, I hope this was helpful for you. And if you felt drawn to any of the other piles, you can check them out too, or then I will wish you a very pleasant rest of the day. Okay, pile number 2. Let's see what we have here. The main issue, addicted, okay? So this can very simply mean an addiction, like drugs, alcohol, sex, Netflix, whatever. Being addicted to a person, as in codependency or anything. Or it can just be this kind of general, I don't want to call it a weakness, but in that sense, like you have a very, this tendency to possibly become addicted or obsessed with things, okay? Which might mean the kind of like if you're very obsessed with something, if it's not a substance or anything like that, the addiction, you might have issues letting things go. Like you might have this kind of need to hold on to things, okay? Kind of like hoarding, just not ever throwing anything away, that kind of thing also. Let's see, we have King of Acorns, Page of Acorns, a lot of fire here. Strength, yes, very fiery. Very, as in fire, like a strong personality. Which definitely does not say weak. Okay, like I said, I don't want to say weak, because I don't mean it like you are so weak that you fall into addiction and obsession. Obviously, that's not the case. The addiction here can also be, of course, like just a general fixation on even like a mindset, like very negative, dark mindset, that you don't see the optimism, you don't get enthusiastic, you don't have the strength, inner strength to do things, because everything is just so dark and negative, and there's just no point in anything. But if we take this kind of like a face value as an addiction, so there is something that has got you chained, okay? He has a chain around his neck, and it goes away from the picture, so it's like someone or something has got him completely just like a dog in a leash. And it's like the skin on the face and the hand, it's like getting kind of corroded, melting away. So it's really like giving into an addiction. Okay. So, as I said in the intro, this is like the main aspect of the shadow that we're looking at, and these are more specific parts of it that might need, or how it might affect your life, how it's manifesting in your life. And like I said, like these are all very positive cards. This is a very positive deck, but they are very positive cards. They're very optimistic. They're very passionate. They're very full of life and courage and just this passion for life. And it's exactly the opposite of this. So it might be that whatever this addiction is, it's gotten you to a point that you don't feel this. You don't have the strength. It's just kind of slipping away from your hands. You can possibly see it, and it might really hurt you that you see that this could be you. You could be this creative person, and you're not, because of this one thing that got you locked up. Now, what I would suggest, if this is the case, if it's not, like, if it's an addiction, just you try to get help from actual doctors. But if we're talking about addiction as an obsession to a thing, not a substance as such, try to get to the bottom of that thing. Like, what made you lose yourself into that? Because if you can see all this, but you can't, like, it's out of your reach, what is keeping you stuck here? Because usually it's yourself. You yourself are keeping you in this cage, in this leash. So in this case, I would definitely say to get really deep into the root of the problem, instead of trying to just remove yourself from the situation, or try to cover it up with pretty things, to understand how you got there and why. Okay, those are the questions. For the resurfacing here and possibly integration, we have time to heal, which is, it really looks like whoever this message is for, okay, you acknowledge this, because sometimes people who have this kind of addiction or this addictive mindset, they don't see themselves, okay? But in this case, I'd say, like, you know that it is time to heal. So if that is you, seek help. You don't need to do it yourself, or you need to do it yourself. You don't need to do it alone. That's what I meant. Life is a mystery, okay? Sometimes, like I said, it's good to think about the things and the reasons why you are in this, okay? But of course, sometimes we can't get there. We can't find the time in the past that something triggered something to happen and you became addicted. Sometimes that's just what happens. It's like an accumulation of things that just led you here. So what I mean when I say to look at the reasons, I don't say it as find the guilty one. Okay, it's not, you shouldn't look at it in a way that you would find something to blame this on. But you just observe, like kind of go in the past and observe at how things happen without judgment. Like if you start blaming yourself, you're not gonna get better. Blaming yourself is just going to deepen this. So to approach this with kind of love and kindness towards yourself. You're in this energy, okay? It happened. You are there. Now, try to forgive yourself and understand, like, okay, this happened. Let's see why it happened so that now I can change that part. I can change the root. I kind of transform the root of the issue, the cause. And then I can take care of the consequences. Or the consequences might take care of themselves when I fix the root of the issue. Okay? I hope that makes sense. I know I couldn't really find the words to say what I meant, but I hope that made sense. I hope that was helpful for some of you at least. If you felt drawn to another pile, do go on and watch that one as well. If not, I do wish you a very pleasant rest of your day, okay? Okay, finally we have pile number 3. Let's see what we have here. So the main issue, downcast pride. So what we have here is the energy of, I'm just getting the word humble, okay? And being humble is fun, but this is taking that to a whole other very negative level. Okay, this card is about adapting yourself to what other people want you to be in a way that you completely lose yourself. You lose your self-esteem, like you don't value who you are. Basically, you have no more pride because you're just trying to adapt to people's expectations of yourself. So if you chose this pile, it might mean that you are feeling a little lost. You feel like a ping pong ball just being thrown around at other people's will, okay? And this might be in a way that for others you look completely fine. You might not show that there's anything wrong because you have adapted into this persona that basically is no more. So within you, that this goes very deep. As you can see, there's these roots that go deep inside where it's empty. And this kind of behavior, this kind of situation, usually it has gone on for a long time, and it becomes evident only when you have completely lost yourself. Like you one day just notice that there is no you left because you've been kind of giving in here and giving in a little bit on the other side, and because this person doesn't like this, you kind of adapt to, okay, I'm not going to do that anymore. And you might feel like these negative things just kind of creep into you and eat you from the inside. And you're empty. Which is not true. Okay? In fact, what usually happens in these situations is we put on masks. So you're not empty. You're just covered. And you need to uncover yourself little by little, take off the masks that you put on when you adapt to people. Adapting rarely means removing something from ourselves. It's adding something, another layer that you're kind of protecting yourself, your inner self from that person, from possible attack from that person. Ace of Acorns, Ace of Wands, Justice, and Queen of Crystals, Queen of Pentacles. So if you feel like this is you that you have been adapting so much that you are kind of lost. It's kind of like a servant mentality. Like if you think of like old, movies or TV series from the times where people were masters and servants. You kind of bow your head and do what you are told. And it might manifest in your life in this way, okay? These are kind of like expression points. Is that even a term? Well, now it is. Ace of Acorns, creative force and confidence. Okay, confidence, none. In this case, usually it's none. Or then it's kind of like faked. Faked with little bunny ears, because sometimes in situations where you do need to be confident, you do kind of pull in from that inner you. So you might feel like you're faking the confidence when actually that is the true you coming out. Justice, truth and clarity. There's a lot of things to possibly unpack here, but also what I'm thinking here is, in a situation like this, sometimes your sense of right and wrong might be not exactly distorted, but you might make excuses for people's bad behavior, in order for them to not attack you, not necessarily physically, but so that you don't need to put another layer, not another adaptation. So wrong might become right for you, which is wrong. Not justice, okay? It's just another way to adapt to not being attacked. Queen of Crystals, Queen of Pentacles, we have comfort and prosperity. Now, in these kind of situations, usually you don't have much. I mean, you might not even have a sense of self anymore if it goes to that point. Queen of Pentacles is a very, like it says, prosperity. It's a very kind of solid, sturdy, wealthy woman. Stands on her own 2 feet. Knows her value, knows her worth. And that's not the case in here. Comfort also. It's not a situation where you can really relax. And be yourself. And be comfortable. Now, first of all, what I would like to say here, like this often happens if you are in a abusive relationship. Doesn't necessarily mean a romantic relationship, but it can also be family member. And abusive here doesn't mean only physical abuse, it's emotional, mental, spiritual, monetary, whatever. Verbal, any kind of abuse. And it can be very subtle. It can be like you might just be taking on people saying like, oh, I hate when people do that. And you're like, I do that. I need to stop doing that. Because people hate when I do that. When it was just someone's opinion, okay? people like that in your environment, if you're not directly related to them, if they're friends, for example, or co-workers, I would say just simply cut them out. Do not enter in contact with them anymore. And that will immediately, well, not immediately, directly help you rid yourself of some of those masks and have a bit of your sense of self, your sense of control back. If it's a relationship or a very close family member, it's more difficult, but it's not impossible to get out of that situation. And if you do need help with that, please do ask for help. Because basically, like, you can work on your own self. Obviously, you can, even if you are in close contact with a person like that. But it's not like you cannot fix yourself in a situation that is breaking you continuously. So if you are in a situation like that, do try to get out of it. Okay? For resurfacing and integration, we have be at home and make your dreams real, okay? So with this be at home, I really link it to like people are always saying that you need to get out of your comfort zone and take risks and whatever, but in this situation, I would say if you have a place where you feel comfortable, or a group of friends, or whatever, just one person or a dog or something that makes you feel comfortable, be there. Spend as much time as you can there. If there is a place or a person or situation that you do not feel comfortable at all, try to find a way to remove that from your life, or just at least really limit the amount of time that you spend with that, so that you can find that comfort in yourself, okay? Also, something that is very important and very helpful when dealing with those kind of layers that we take on because we adapt to people, is to look at things when you're doing something. It can be really simple things like if you have a thought like, oh, those flowers, I really don't like those flowers. I think, why do I not like them? Do I not like them because I simply don't like the way they smell? Or I don't like how they look? Or do I not like them because someone told me they don't like them? Or that it's not okay to like them? That they mean something in some other culture that means something, that I shouldn't like them? And when you start thinking about things like that, it becomes more automatic in a way, and you really start figuring out, like, I'm really doing a lot of things because other people told me that it's not okay, or that they don't like it. But those people might not even be in your life anymore, but you're still thinking like that, and you're still acting on those masks. Okay? So it's important to kind of relearn yourself and what you like and what you don't like. And that will kind of fill the empty. Like I said, you're not empty. You are wearing too many layers. That's the problem. But I know it can feel like you are empty. Okay, I think that is all I have to say about that. I could go on, I know. It's not a very simple topic at all. But I do hope this was helpful for whoever felt called for this. If you feel drawn to any other piles, do go on and watch those as well. If not, thank you for joining me for this. I hope you have a very pleasant rest of the day. Okay? Bye.